Hi, welcome. I hope you are all well. So, I want to talk a little bit about something that is very important. And I say this is important because I think it's the one thing that is overlooked, and that is our breath and our nervous system connection when we are working with health. So, it is fantastic for us to be able to have a strong body. It's fantastic for us to be able to do cool things or our everyday regular life and feel well in our body. But there's a big connection between our nervous system and our breath that creates this as well. Have you ever had a day when you're so stressed and your body feels tight when you go to stretch? Have you ever had a day when you're very, very stressed or you're run down and you try and do something and you just don't have the energy? Have you ever struggled with simple things like coordination, or your heartbeat is out of control because you're anxious and you have to do something really, really important? All of this can be controlled by the breath. Also, and the nervous system connection. And also, have you ever had a day where you're starving, hungry, and you want to, eat a lot of sweets? Or have you ever had a day where you're super, super pissed off and you are angry at the people around you? Again, this can be controlled often by the breath. So our breath is a very important function that we are often sitting on autopilot. So one of the skills that I want to share with you is the ability to stop, take yourself off autopilot, observe inside and outside the body, and then be present in that moment. That allows us to be able to function just a little bit better because we come home to us in our body. Most of our life is like 60% living in the past. It is around 30% living in the future and only 10% or less living in the present. Our life can only be structured in the present. So that's pretty scary, because if we are living in the past and we're like, I failed this last time, I'm going to fail this again. Oh, this person always annoys me. I'm never going to, do this. And you have this mindset, then you're never going to achieve, because where the mind goes, the body and life follows. And if you're living in the future with all this anxiety, I've got so far to go, this looks really hard, so on and so forth, everything you do will also have that experience. But if you live in the present, breath by breath, you're going to have a lot more chance to reframe your thoughts, to focus and do the skill, to take those small micro steps and experiences one step at a time. An example. So over the last year and a half, I have been injured, and I've also been dealing with some autoimmune issues. And one of the skills, once I got injured, I had a lot of anxiety around, and I just couldn't do it. I just had this mental block. So over the last 6 months, I've been practicing skills that are, not where I want to be, but recalibrating the body, because I had to relearn to use some of my left arm and shoulder structure again because of the injury. I had thoracic outlet syndrome. And in time, those micro shifts of all of these skills developed me to recalibrate my body, to use it in the way that needs to. And the stall to press, which I used to have multiple times and I loved it, when I lost it, it was terrible. I tried it a few weeks ago without thinking about it, and I hadn't practiced in a while, and I got 2 in a row after an arm workout. I'm like, holy crap. Really focus on the becoming of where you're at, do the things you have to do, and you will get there. But so often we are in the past or in the future, and we want to be somewhere, and we're so focused on what we don't have, or the emotion of anxiety, or so on and so forth. When you are also suffering from immune issues in any way, if you are not in a place of healing and in fight or flight, you won't heal. That means that you have to use your breath, and I have been doing a lot of work with the breath. So just because someone is on social media or someone is looking well doesn't mean that they don't fight idiosyncrasies in the body. So my family have a lot of autoimmune. My mother has MS. I have 2 grandfathers that died of heart conditions. My father has issues, my brother, and we have dementia and the Alzheimer's in the family. The list goes on. But genetics will not stop you They will suggest that you have certain things that your tendencies are likely to have. But if you work with your genetics and work with tools such as breath, such as eating healthy, such as movement, such as vagus nerve work, and all of these things, you can recalibrate your system to be able to live a long and healthy life, whether you have symptoms or not, because you learn about your system, you're able to control and regulate yourself in your nervous system, and you are also able to keep yourself in a proper regulation. And with that proper regulation, the body can function to the best of its ability. There never has to be a perfect system, but you can find the perfect rhythm and lifestyle for you so you can function. So this is where the breath work comes in. I was one of those people that was like, whatever, with breath work. And I was also one of those people, I have a very sensitive immune system, that breath work would trigger me. So we have ourselves when we are nicely regulated, then we go into the sympathetic, and then we go into shutdown. Basically, those are the three areas. And the shutdown, which I sat in for a long time due to trauma and those types of things, when we are coming back up into the sympathetic fight, flight, or freeze, is often very, very difficult. And it causes a lot of anxiety. And that's where a lot of people stop with breathing. Or that's where a lot of people go too hard and do the wrong type of breath work. So when you are feeling that anxiety and resistance, that's when you slow down a little bit with breath work or slow down a little bit with vagus nerve work, and you keep going through it. Eventually, you're going to come back and regulate into that nice system of where your rest and digest able to go into the fight, flight, and freeze, but you're able to come out of it. So often what happens is we get stuck in it, and that is not healthy. So that reason is we have the negative bias, and the negative bias was built because, lions and tigers and bears, and if we didn't look out for the tiger or something like this, we would get eaten, right? If we only looked out for the flowers. So it makes sense in our old brain. But we don't have those things generally chasing us now, so we have to work with that. One way to do it is to observe the breath. And the stops that I mentioned, stop, take yourself off autopilot, observe, and presence. So if I was to do that, I would stop. Take a deep breath, around 5 in, 5 out through my nose is best. Then I'm observing, so let's see. I'm going to name an emotion. I'm feeling a little nervous because I'm here talking. I feel a little excited because I'm going to do my handstand training in a minute. My heart is a little bit fast due to the nerves. That's kind of what I'm feeling inside. And outside, I'm noticing the raindrops on the window. The trees, they're slightly swaying in different colors because it's fall or autumn. The clouds and the light undulating through them. So some are gray, some are white, and there's this blue tinge of sky. I just became present for a minute. That's all it takes. And that skill alone, to be able to name a few emotions, helps us to regulate, because naming the emotions last for about 90 seconds, helps us to regulate and also come home to us. And being present in our breath helps us to regulate too. So that's the first skill I can suggest that you do. The second skill is breath work, and I'll give you 3 options. I would suggest just start with 1 minute. So they've discovered that the best breathing pattern to help us to regulate and health is in through your nose for 5.5 seconds and out through your nose for 5.5 seconds, approximately, give or take. So you could do 6 and 5. So you just simply close your mouth, in through your nose, out. And you do that for your breath of 1 minute, and you can build on that. Another option is close off your right nostril, breathe in through your left nostril, close off both nostrils, pause, breathe out through your right nostril, close it off, pause, breathe in through your right nostril, close off, pause, breathe out through your left. Do around 15 rounds. This is also a great regulation skill. So it goes. And you keep going, and I can already feel the peace. Why I'm showing you this is because so often we're so built on fast track, and a lot of people ask me, how do I deal with emotions? How do I deal with anxiety? How do I be less reactive? How do I X? All of this starts with your calmness and your ability to breathe, because you don't get rid of those emotions. They stay there like clouds in the sky. You just don't pull them down from the sky. You just let those emotions exist, and in 90 seconds, probably another emotion will come. But if you stay present too, you don't get lost in them and unpack and sit there with them. So using your breath will help you to decrease anxiety and depression, will help you to stay focused, will increase also your ability to perform better in the activities you're doing, and just in general be healthier. Now, one more breath I like to use, which really regulates the vagus nerve, is 4 in, 4 hold, 6 out, 2 hold. So it looks like this. Four in. And so these are all simple techniques, all available to you to be able to regulate yourself and to feel a little better. And they seem so simple, and they are, and they're free. But so often we give up on them because they are that way. So the vagus nerve also, when we work, we can do eye movements. And sometimes for some people, it's very, very difficult to do eye movements. So at first, if it doesn't feel right, just do less repetitions. But you can consistently do it and finally get improvement. And working with the vagus nerve helps with post-traumatic stress disorder, inflammation in the body, regulating our nervous system, stress in general, anxiety, depression. There's so many things. And all you have to do is simply use your body and doing this skill. You don't need to go and get another substance. You don't need to change anything, but just start here. So the first skill that I would suggest is holding your thumb out. G'day, mate. You put your thumb up, it's in the center. You look at your thumb, you inhale, you exhale, and you shake your head no or yes with an exhale. And maybe you do it 3 times, not too fast, maybe 5 times. Sometimes it can be a bit irritating to the eye if you're new to it. Then you would do to the side, then you would do to the side, then you would do to the bottom side and the other side. And all you're doing is exhaling and then shaking your head no, or you can do yes, 3 to 10 times, nice and slow, and you keep your eye on the thumb. It looks like it doesn't do anything, but it helps regulate and also helps the vagus nerve, which is a big part of our health. So the last one, which I think is really cool, I'm going to lie down and you're going to place your hands behind, you're going to place your hands behind your head. Okay? So I'm here. And from here, I'm going to inhale and exhale. And then I'm going to look over to the right. So I'm just looking over to the right with my eyes. I'm just going to wait here, and I'm either going to get a sigh or a yawn after a minute or 30 seconds. So I'm just going to breathe in and out. And this also brings you back into the parasympathetic and regulates the vagus nerve using the eyes. So I'm just waiting here for that sigh or yawn. Oh, there's yawn. Then I come back to center and I do exactly the same on the other side. So what I'm trying to give you is skills that are super, super easy and super, super practical for your day-to-day life. That'll help you regulate, oh dear, it's gone again, and help you to build stress tolerance, help you with inflammation, help you with the nervous system. Not everything has to be a quick fix. It'll take time, and you'll go through anxiety, you'll go through depression. There is healing resistance as we do things, as our nervous system has to come into new comforts. But as you practice things consistently, things will change. And these things, you have the power to create change, which is the most exciting part about it. So I share all this because I also do all this work. I don't just train hard, I also have to work on my nervous system. I've been through my own set of challenges and trauma, and I've done a lot of resistance to meditation due to the fact that my nervous system didn't like it for a long time. I would end up with so much anxiety that I would walk away from it. But I had to go through that. And I found over time, particularly the last 6 months, as I've worked through these processes, it has helped immensely. It has helped me immensely to go into life with a lot more presence, to help with immune issues, to help with anxiety and depression, to help when I am stressed, to help when I am training and to build my fitness level, to help recovery from injury. And all of this starts with me simply doing a few basic exercises a day. I want to give you guys back the power to be able to be healthy. And it all starts with things like your breath, working with your vagus nerve. You don't have to go and buy a new gadget. You can start here, and remember, it's a process of micro shifts. Sometimes you'll feel better, healing isn't linear, sometimes you'll feel worse. But over a consistency, what will happen is even if you go up and down, you'll eventually come up to a better level, and you will be able to do that all for free, doing skills like this. So remember, the power is in repetition. The power is in using you.